controversial remarks about the violence in Charlottesville. Heads up, any moment now, we may get the first images of the day of President Trump as the nation witnesses its leader place blame on both racists and counter-protesters, appearing to defend the neo-Nazis, the KKK, the white supremacists. It happened during this, lots of adjectives you could go with. We'll go with meltdown of a news conference at Trump Tower just a day after his speech on teleprompter there to try to correct the first one in which he would not call out bigotry fully and unequivocally. And now the fallout is hitting hard. The president just confirming on Twitter as more and more CEOs pull away. The heads of Campbell Soup and 3M just dropped out of the manufacturing group, making them number 7 and number 8 executives to depart. I want you to listen to what Campbell's leader has said. Quote, racism and murder are unequivocally responsible and are not morally equivalent to anything else that happened in Charlottesville. I believe the president should have been and still needs to be unambiguous on that point, she writes. With me now to begin, CNN business correspondent Richard Quest. Richard, these additional drop-offs, how significant?
Oh, enormously. Look, these additional drop-offs, not just the Campbell Soup, but the 3M, but also the unions and Under Armour and the Alliance yesterday. Look, what was happening is that the herd mentality was starting. Cover was being given to chief execs who were now seen as being, they were getting pressure from investors, pressure from shareholders, pressure from employees, pressure from friends and family. And what was at risk from the president's point of view is that more and more and more would leave the councils, and so then decided go for the nuclear option, which was to abandon them, disband the councils before he could be embarrassed any further. This is a case here, Brooke, of the president firing the councils before they could all quit.
Yesterday, the president tweeted, we talked about this, for every CEO that drops out of the manufacturing council, I have many to take their place. Grandstanders should not have gone on jobs. If you're a mega member of the business community in this country, why do you want to help the president at a time like this?
You're balancing a very, very difficult act here, because on the one hand, he's still the president of the United States, elected by the people and the head of state. On the other hand, you have all these rampant controversies going deep into the sewers. And you've got to balance that between not annoying one versus not annoying the other. I think what's important here also is this strategic and policy forum that was disbanded. Now, this is a very high-level group of CEOs that was probably more important than the Manufacturing Council. But it also had several very strong and leading members of the American Jewish community that were taking part in it. And I'm guessing, from what I've heard anyway, from what people have told me, that there's an enormous amount of pressure, particularly his refusal to criticize when you heard those marchers in Charlottesville saying about Jews will not replace us. Put all this together, and what you have here, and it's fascinating, it's worrying, but it's the first time we're really seeing this. Corporate America has become the moral compass that is leading the argument.
Corporate America, but you also have Joint Chiefs, the military, very unusually weighing in, denouncing a lot of this as well, the military. Richard Quest, thank you so much for that. And as the president faces all this outrage, the Hare family is embracing the outpouring of support as they remember their daughter. Her memorial service was today. She is the 32-year-old woman protesting against the white supremacists in Charlottesville Saturday when a driver plowed into a crowd and killed her.
No father should have to do this. But I love my daughter. And as I look at on you guys, you loved her too. She was kind of hard that way. It's hard not to love. And as I listened and to her friends, and here's stories of my daughter and the way she was. She loved people. She wanted equality. And in this issue, of the day of her passing, she wanted to put down hate.
They tried to kill my child to shut her up. Well, guess what? You just magnified her. I'm reading pages of pages of pages how she's touching the world. I want this to spread. I don't want this to die. This is just the beginning of Heather's legacy. This is not the end of Heather's legacy.
May you rest in peace. Now, for more on just what all of this means for our country, Errol Lewis is with us, CNN political commentator, a political anchor at Spectrum News, CNN political commentator S.E. Cupp, and host of HLN's S.E. Cupp Unfiltered, which debuts Monday. Cultural critic and writer Michaela Angela Davis, she is back. Danny Zucker, one of the executive producers of the sitcom Modern Family, who is engaged in numerous Twitter spats with Donald Trump. So welcome to all of you. And Errol, let me just turn to you first.